to go further distances, have better
This
endurance.
Meeting is being recorded.
With your running. Sorry, I lost my train of thought with that. Sorry, I gotta pull my notes back up. And so many of us have dogs who, you know, go for a run and then, you know, we get back and they're still ready for more. So activities that allow our dogs to express normal dog behaviors that we need to channel in a different way can be more tiring for them than just going for a walk or a run or things like that, although those things are very good for them. Mental stimulation can also help to decrease boredom, which can often be the cause of some undesirable behaviors, such as destructive behavior or barking unnecessarily, different types of behaviors that we see as undesirable. A lot of times it's caused by boredom. So a lot of mental enrichment will help to decrease those undesirable traits, because a tired dog, both mentally and physically, is a happy dog. So we are going to cover some different types of enrichment. Some are going to be more food-based, some are going to access other senses a little bit more. There will be some overlap in some of these categories. And please keep in mind that not every dog is going to enjoy the same forms of enrichment. So we really do need to tailor things to what our dog enjoys the most. And we can head on to the next slide. So one of the easiest ways that I think that we can incorporate mental enrichment into our dogs' lives is mealtime enrichment, because we're going to feed our dogs anyway, so why not do something that's more interesting for them than just having their food in a bowl. So enrichment activities that utilize mealtime make the meal take longer, but they also encourage your dog to engage in activities that are more mentally tiring for them. So now we are going to look at some of my favorite examples. Please keep in mind that there are many more ideas than this. This is just some ideas to get you guys started. And know that the wonderful world of enrichment has many, many, many ideas out there. And with a quick search on something like Pinterest, you can find some other great ideas. A lot of these ideas can be do it yourself rather than purchasing puzzle toys or things like that, which I always find it better to start with a DIY version to make sure that it's a style that your dog likes, because, you know, I would be bummed out if I spent, you know, $20 on a puzzle toy that my dog just won't even engage with at all. So a lot of puzzle toys can be at least do a similar form in a DIY version. And I definitely recommend that first. And then you can go from there if once you find your dog's style that they like the most. Please also keep in mind that some of these activities really should be done under supervision just in case. So make it a meal time of the day where you are going to be around, or you have a little bit more time to be around. So my first favorite is just a very simple method of freezing their meals. This can be done in a bowl, whether that's a slow feeder bowl or a regular bowl. Some dogs don't like eating them out of a bowl, and in that case, I recommend you can use like a paper Dixie cup type, and then you can peel the paper cup off of it and have just kind of a popsicle for your dog. And these frozen meals are really easy to make, and it's also really easy to add variety to your dog's meal. A lot of times I've seen that people will coat the bottom of the bowl with peanut butter, so there's peanut butter in there before you freeze it, and then you put your kibble in, and then you can cover with bone broth to soak it. You can also use things like plain Greek yogurt or other treats that are great for your dogs, such as blueberries, sliced banana, a little bit of pumpkin. All kinds of things can add variety for your dog and keep it more interesting for them just by having that variety. Do make sure that any additives that you are interested in adding to your dog's meal, you do check and make sure that it is safe for them to have, because there are definitely foods out there that are really healthy for us that are really bad for our dogs. So just double check and make sure you check that they are safe for your dogs to have. But everything that I have listed is good for your dogs to have. But you should also check with your veterinarian if you are concerned about any side effects for your dog in specific. For example, my dog is prone to seizures, so our vet recommended that we stay away from rosemary, which I have now found out is in a lot of treats and things like that. So rosemary extract, rosemary oil. So that is something that we have to steer away from. So just double check with your vet if there's any concerns for things like that, if your dog has a known medical issue. Another great option for mealtime, and this is really good for some of our high energy dogs, really good for dogs who like to use their nose a lot, is a cardboard destruction box. These are really simple to make. You can make them of different complexities depending on how quickly your dog gets through it. Some dogs, just one box is hard enough for them. Other dogs want it to be a little bit more complicated. Save any boxes that you get, from Chewy or Amazon or anything like that. Different sizes you can stack within each other to make it more fun. And you honestly just sprinkle their kibble throughout these boxes and loosely close it so that they have to figure out how to open it. This can encourage them to do some shredding and some pawing with their paws, which is actually a really great behavior for them to do, but there's not a lot of options for them to participate in that behavior in their daily life as pets, at least not in ways that we like. So being able to channel that sort of digging and sniffing behavior into something like this, it's an easy way to create a puzzle for your dog and have extra fun. You can even add layers with cereal boxes are great for adding an extra level. Paper towel rolls, any packing paper, all of that is safe for your dog to shred. This is definitely one of those that you'll want to make sure you're around to monitor to make sure they're not consuming a lot of it. Little shreds shouldn't be a big deal, but you want to make sure they're not taking a whole piece of cardboard. Some other fun ideas are to roll kibble in an old towel. This could be like a beach towel, and then you can tie it into some knots, or a few old dish towels and tie those together in a knot, and make a ball for them to pull apart. Again, you'll want to monitor your dog while doing this activity. Make sure they're not trying to eat the towel, but a lot of dogs are really skilled at being able to figure out that they need to undo the towel and then they'll get their kibble. Again, great for making mealtime take longer, getting them to use their nose, and then you have a tired dog. Similar type of activity are snuffle mats, which they do come in several different levels of difficulty, and there's lots of different types out there now. There's some really intricate ones that you can purchase. But again, I recommend starting with a DIY version, which they are pretty easy to make. If you get like a sink mat from the dollar store and then some fleece fabric and cut that into strips and weave it into your sink mat and just tie some knots. It's shown in that bottom picture down at the very bottom. And you just sprinkle the kibble throughout the fleece pieces, and it just encourages your dog to use their nose to actually find their pieces of kibble. Like I said, if you know that your dog likes this type of activity, there are lots of intricate, really blew my mind when I was searching for them recently, how far people have gone and the different types of puzzles that they've created with this basic idea of a snuffle mat. And it kind of, there's some out there that kind of combines snuffle mat with puzzle. And so that's really cool. But again, you definitely want to make sure that that's something that your dog is going to enjoy and not just look at you like you're nuts if you put it in front of them. Another great option is Kong wobblers and other puzzle toys. The key here when you're using any sort of a puzzle type toy is to make sure that you're rotating these toys. If your dog likes a puzzle and you utilize that puzzle, if you use the same one over and over again without putting a different one in the mix, they're going to figure it out pretty quickly, and then it's not going to be fun for them anymore, and it'll kind of take away that mental enrichment because they'll just be able to do it faster and faster and faster. I've also heard of some dogs who figure out that they can flip the puzzle toy over and then all the kibble comes out, and so then once they figure that out, that's what they do. So, you know, we wouldn't want to do the same puzzle over and over again. We would start to find that boring. So the key for our dogs is to rotate them. I'm not saying that you can only use one puzzle toy one time, because that's definitely not the case. Just make sure that you're using it in rotation with other things so that your dog doesn't get bored. And we can go to the next slide. All right, our next form of enrichment that I like to talk about is scent enrichment. This is a sense that is very deprived in the shelter environment because, you know, think about it, all they get to smell is the other dogs around them and, you know, cleaning supplies, things like that. So getting to use their sense of smell is something that's hugely beneficial to our dogs. Dogs' brains have a much larger portion devoted to scent than ours does, so we may not think about it so much because scent doesn't mean a whole lot to the human brain, but to the dog's brain, it means everything. They get so much information from sniffing things, and yes, I know it's gross, or at least we see it as gross, but when they lick things that they've been sniffing, that's actually a way that they are getting more information to their scent glands. So that is very normal behavior, and their sense of smell is so important to them, and it actually very much tires them out when they get to utilize it. So now we're going to go over a few of my favorite ways of getting to use their sense of smell. So my top suggestion, and this works really well for just about any dog, is a sniff walk, or as Cinder just called it in the comments, sniffari. So this is going to be where you take your dog on a walk, but it's not focused on the distance that you go. These are not focused on physical exercise. You might only make it 15 feet from your house because you are going to allow your dog to make the decisions about where they would like to go within reason. Obviously, I don't want you, you know, allowing your dog to just drag you into traffic. And also sniffing whatever they want to sniff for as long as they want to smell it, and letting them make the choice of when they are ready to move on from sniffing whatever it is. Now, of course, again, that's within reason. If it's a dead animal, pull your dog along a little bit. We don't want them to be in danger in any way, shape, or form, but this allows them to really utilize that sense of smell, and you will be surprised at how tired your dog can be from, you know, a 20-minute sniff walk versus a 20-minute physical walk. It is very astounding how much that will tire them out, and just allowing them to sniff at their own pace and their own discretion. Next one is a hide and seek game. This can be done in your yard, in the house, whatever you want to do as far as that goes. Really great for rainy days as far as doing it inside the house goes, and wanting to get your dog a little bit of mental enrichment. This does cross over a little bit into, you know, food enrichment, because what you're going to do is you're going to hide some high value treats either in a particular area of your house or in your yard for your dog to find. I find that pieces of chicken, or, you know, lunch meat, something that they don't get all the time, is really good for this, because then it utilizes their sense of smell to track down these pieces of food, and then they do get rewarded by getting to eat that piece of food. So that's a great option as well. There are essential oils that are safe for using around our dogs and can have different benefits to them as well. For example, lavender is a calming scent both for us and for dogs. And chamomile has been shown to reduce stress levels in dogs. Please be sure whenever you are using essential oils that you do look up on a trusted website or consult with your veterinarian which oils are safe to use and what is the safe dilution for them, because sometimes the dilution that is safe for dogs is different than what is safe for humans. So you'll want to find a good balance of what is safe for both. And we definitely want to keep our dogs in mind and make sure that we're not using something that could be harmful to them. Because there, again, just like with foods, there are things that are great for us that aren't good for them. But essential oils can have different benefits for our dogs. And I think the lavender one is a really good for lavender, and chamomile both can be good for our dogs coming from stressful situations off of transport, can help to reduce their stress levels with something that smells good. Something else that you can do that it is super fun. I was trying to get my local shelter to set one up and try to set it up as you know, a community service activity to get it going, is to create a scent garden for your dog with pet safe plants. And that way they can go out to that area of your yard and sniff to their heart's content. And you can definitely look up a list of safe plants that are safe to plant for your dog. Say that 5 times fast. Something else that's super fun for a lot of dogs, especially high energy dogs, are scented dog safe bubbles. I know a lot of dogs who love these, and you can use any sort of bubble wand or even the like bubble guns and just get the dog safe bubbles, and your dog can have a blast with those. And there are scented ones that are safe for your dogs. So that is a really fun activity for a lot of dogs as well. All right, we can go on to our next slide. So some other fun activities to try. Another activity that is not so fun if our dogs find a way to do it that isn't permitted by us, such as digging holes in the yard or under the fence, is digging behaviors. And it is something that is really frustrating for us. But if we allow our dogs a place like a sand pit or a kiddie pool to dig and express that normal behavior, that can be really good for them to express those normal dog behaviors, and it is really tiring for them. You can utilize, when you're first starting something like this, utilize hiding treats and toys in the sandbox to encourage them to dig. You can also fill a kiddie pool with balls, like a ball pit for a kid, and put things throughout it so that they can search for it. And again, that will utilize their nose and allow them to dig in an appropriate manner. And usually once we have taught our dogs an appropriate outlet for some of those behaviors, they understand that, okay, this is where I am allowed to dig versus not. So especially when we encourage it with that positive reinforcement, they are more likely to participate in that behavior in that manner than if we just left them to their own devices. Something else that's really easy to do that a lot of people don't think about is just rotating the toys that your dog has available to them. You know, a lot of us have a big basket of toys, myself included, for our dog. And you'll notice that, you know, they might play with one toy for like a week or so, and then they kind of forget about it. So a really easy way to keep things fresh for your dog is to rotate their toys. Like, take a few of them, put them back in the closet, and then when you pull those toys out in 2 weeks or so, they're brand new toys to your dog again. And that can be a really easy way to keep them from becoming bored, and they're going to get excited for that toy like it's brand new. Kongs and licky mats are also really useful distractions for activities such as bathing and nail trimming. And they are helpful to focus your dog's energy when you need to help them take a break from play, which is critical for adolescent dogs. It helps them focus on something else, and it's a quiet activity, which it's then rewarding to have that calming activity, so that our adolescent dogs don't get overtired, because they will do that. And it also is helpful when being left alone, whether they are crated or not. So Kongs and licky mats, again, there's a large variety of things that you can use on your licky mat or in your Kong to keep it exciting for your dog. Personally, I like to mix my plain Greek yogurt with peanut butter, because that also cuts down on the amount of peanut butter that my dog is getting in a day, so that he's not getting too much peanut butter. And my dog also really likes to have blueberries in his Kong. He really likes blueberries. So find what your dog likes and make sure that, you know, you're rotating that so that it stays exciting to them and they're not just getting the same thing over and over. And I think we are ready for the next slide. Yes, Kong website has a bunch of recipes too, all kinds of different things, and it can really help to spark some ideas of things to try that your dog might like, that you might not have thought of to try with them. So another big thing that with mental enrichment, don't forget that interacting with their people can be some of the most enriching time, both mentally and just for our bond with them. Most of the ideas that we discussed are aimed at being quick and easy on the part of the person. fun games that we engage our dogs in can also be really rewarding for them. And anytime that we are participating in a fun game with our dog, we're not only enriching their lives, but we also really work on that bond with us. You can work on simple training tricks. You can work on some fun little things with them, and it doesn't have to be complicated. You can even just work on really simple things like touch, or having them go get the treat, so that they make space from you, and then when they return to you, they get another treat. It can be really simple, and it doesn't have to be complicated with regards to really involved training. It can be really simple, but any time that we are interacting with our dog in a way like that, and anytime that they can figure something out and learn something new and achieve a goal, that's something that's hugely rewarding to them. Things like flirt poles for dogs that like to chase. It's a way for us to engage with them, but also for them to get a lot of energy out. And a game of fetch is a great game. Make sure that when you're playing a game of fetch that you work on a drop it cue to make sure that your dog doesn't start to just keep the ball or the frisbee or whatever. When I first started playing frisbee with my dog when he was a puppy, what was most rewarding in that situation was not treats. I did not need to have treats involved to work on his cue for it. I just had a second frisbee so that he had to come back to get me to throw the next one, and he knew that I would not throw the frisbee that I had until he dropped the one that was in his mouth. That can be really useful, and something that's really important to remember is that treats are not your only motivator. Sometimes it is the playtime, it is the engagement with us that is more rewarding in that situation. We can also play tug. I am not against playing tug, but again, make sure that you do have a drop it cue in case your dog gets overly aroused, and let your dog win sometimes. Let go and be like, woohoo, you won. Because then that gets them to get something else out of it. That's also something with the flirt pole. Make sure you let them catch it at some point. Because I don't know if you all have heard about, the cats chasing the laser toys, and it can be a little bit detrimental because they never get to catch something. So it's another side of actually completing that task that we are engaging. So with the flirt pole, we're engaging their chase behavior. We want to let them actually catch something. All right, and I think that we are ready for questions. What you guys got for me?
Well, I have a question to get us started. The idea that putting kibble or something in a towel or a box, I'm worried if I do that, then my dogs will then go, oh, there's a towel hanging in the bathroom. I think I should look through it and destroy it, should look for kibble. So am I being paranoid, or is that a possibility?
For the most part, I have not heard of that being an issue, especially because with the boxes or the towels in these situations, you're giving it to them in a specific situation. So I have not heard of a lot of dogs then relating that to every single box or towel. The other thing to remember is that their sense of smell is way better than ours, so they're going to know pretty quickly that there's not actually food in there for them to find. So I wouldn't be super concerned about that.
Okay. I will calm down and give it a shot then. Anybody else have any questions? Someone mentioned a couple books that they recommended early on in the chat.
Yep, Cinder's got some ones in there, and some good suggestions as far as places to look for recipes, and that scent gardens are good for pollinators too. So save the bees, plant a scent garden. Good for your dog, good for the bees.
Krista, I liked especially that picture of the dog in the bathtub, and you had the thing on the wall. I think that's fascinating. Yeah. Would you recommend something similar for when you have to give, like, say, eye medication?
Absolutely. Anytime that we can make it a positive experience, our dogs are going to be much more cooperative, and they're going to come out of it feeling better than if we have to make it a stressful situation. So anytime that we can utilize something like that, it makes it a more positive experience for our dogs. A lot of times it's enough distraction that they won't feel as stressed out, and it does allow them to focus on something else. So it does work. The lick mats work really well for a lot of grooming type things like baths, nails, but it can also work for medical things as well.
And I just realized that's why my lick mat has suction cup on the back of it.
Yes. And there are lick mats that come without the suction cups on the back. So if it is something that you want to be able to utilize, make sure it does have the suction cups to be able to put it up on your tub wall or things like that. And you don't even have to necessarily have a lick mat for the bathtub if you don't mind, washing some peanut butter off of your tub. I've definitely seen people just put it on the wall of their tub, and that works too.
Anybody else have any thoughts or questions for Krista while we've got her?
I hope that some of you have new things to try, and that you learned a little bit about why certain types of enrichment might be beneficial to your dog.
Well, my dogs have been listening very interested to this conversation, and they hope I'll try it all.
And please remember, like Cinder is saying, there are tons of ideas out there. Just make sure that you're picking things that are safe for your dog. And if you have any question about it, feel free to ask your veterinarian before you try something out. And then please join us for next month's topic. Our next tips and tricks session will be Tuesday, June 20th at 7 p.m. And we're going to talk a little bit about choosing fosters that suit us best. Obviously, we're not going to know everything about a dog before they arrive to us, but this is just going to go over some things that may be helpful to ask and things that you may want to consider when selecting a foster.
Terrific. And that one will start on time, I promise. One last question, Krista, do you recommend any of those like dog TV shows, or there's a whole bunch of things on YouTube that you can put on your screen, or just music maybe instead?
To be honest, anything like that, I have seen as being beneficial for dogs. A lot of times what's suggested is, just classical music. There have been some studies that show that, classical music reduces more stress than, say, leaving rock music on for your dog. A lot of those types of things are geared at being relaxing for your dog, but giving them something to listen to. It really is more listening for our dogs than watching. They don't view things the same way that that our brains do. So it really is more about the listening and having something on. I know I leave TV on for my dog, but we just leave HGTV on for him. So he just watches home improvement shows, and we ask him for his tips on what we should do with our house.
Excellent. Maybe he'll build a project when you're out sometime.
Yeah, I keep waiting to come home and find something.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Krista. Thank you, everybody.
Did someone else have a question or a comment?
Yeah, sorry. I wanted to know, is there going to be a place like on the OPH website where you guys are putting resources or links for us to look at, you know, like you said, to make a scent garden? Like, that'd be awesome. But I have, like, rather than making me go Google it, are you guys going to sort of build a resource page?
I can definitely look into doing that for you guys, and I can see where we could get that posted.
Thank you.
We can have some of the links that Cinder's talking about with, you know, the Kong website for recipes for Kongs and things like that.
I think that'd be great, especially, you know, new fosters coming in can really benefit from some of those.
Yeah, absolutely. And even us who are seasoned, just thinking of new things to try that we've never thought to give our dogs before. Like, I know before it was suggested to me, I knew that banana was safe for them, but I never thought about adding it to their meals, just to do something a little bit different. Unsweetened applesauce is another good one that I never thought of either. Until it was suggested to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes, that's brilliant. And unsweetened applesauce freezes really well, so it makes a really good popsicle for your dog to lick, which with these hot summer months coming up is a really good thing to add to.
Well, we are out of time, so thank you again, everybody, and thank you, Krista.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.